You don't have a discipline problem, you have a cowardice problem, and every excuse you whisper to yourself, that's just fear wearing a disguise. Let me tell you what's really happening inside your mind right now. You've constructed an entire cathedral of justifications. I'm tired. Tomorrow's better. I need the right mindset first. These aren't reasons, they're symptoms of psychological decay. Niccolo Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold, but he also knew something darker. He knew most men would rather pretend to be disciplined than actually become disciplined. Because discipline demands something terrifying. It demands you stop lying to yourself. Every time you hit snooze, you're not just delaying your alarm, you're training your nervous system to obey its weakest impulses. You're building neural pathways of surrender. And here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. Your brain doesn't distinguish between small surrenders and large ones. When you negotiate with yourself at 6 a.m., you're practicing the same cognitive pattern you'll use when real stakes appear. The wolf doesn't ask permission. The prey makes excuses. Which one are you? Here's the reframe that changes everything. Your lack of discipline isn't a character flaw, it's a strategic failure. You've been treating willpower like a feeling when it's actually a system, and systems can be engineered. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you 7 Machiavellian principles that rebuild discipline from the ground up. You'll learn 1. How to weaponize cognitive dissonance against your own excuses. 2. The covert contract you're making with mediocrity every single day. 3. Why Machiavelli's concept of virtue destroys modern self-help lies. 4. The surgical removal of decision fatigue. 5. How to use pre-commitment devices like a strategic cage. 6. Shadow integration, turning your weakness into surveillance data. 7. The fear-setting protocol that makes discipline inevitable. Stay until the end, because the final principle contains the one sentence that will haunt you into action. Let's begin. Principle 1. Turn your brain against its own excuses. Your mind is a liar, but it's a predictable liar, and predictable systems can be hacked. Right now you're experiencing what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort of holding two contradictory beliefs. You believe you're capable, but your actions scream otherwise. Most people try to resolve this dissonance by lowering their self-image. They say, maybe I'm just not disciplined. That's the coward's exit. Machiavelli understood. Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. Here's how you weaponize dissonance. Step 1. Write down your excuse. Say it out loud. I don't have time. Step 2. Immediately challenge it with evidence. Pull out your phone. Check your screen time. How many hours on social media yesterday? Step 3. Force the contradiction into consciousness. You do have time. You're choosing to spend it like prey instead of a predator. Step 4. Create a public declaration. Text someone. I'm committing to specific action for 30 days. Now your self-image is hostage to your behavior. The dissonance becomes unbearable. Your brain has two options: change your beliefs or change your actions. Make changing beliefs more painful than changing actions. That's the leverage point. Think of it like this. You're building a psychological cage where the only comfortable position is discipline. The wolf doesn't ask how it feels. The wolf moves. What excuse are you still protecting? Ask yourself that question right now. And that leads directly into something darker, the hidden deal you've been making. Principle 2. Cancel your agreement with mediocrity. You've been operating under a covert contract. You never signed it. You never even read the terms, but you've been honoring it every single day. Here's what the contract says. I will try when conditions are perfect. I will commit when I feel motivated. I will be disciplined when discipline feels easy. And in exchange, the universe promises you absolutely nothing. This is what psychologists call a covert contract, an unspoken expectation that reality will meet you halfway. Reality doesn't negotiate. Machiavelli wrote, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." He meant this: Circumstances don't honor your feelings. Every morning you wait for motivation is a morning you reinforce the contract. Here's the surgical solution. Tactic 1. Identify your hidden when-then statements. When I feel rested, then I'll start. Write them down. Tactic 2. Flip the clause. I will start because I don't feel ready. Now you're training opposite conditioning. Tactic 3. Track streak behavior, not outcomes. You don't owe yourself results, you owe yourself action. Tactic 4. Install a violation cost. Every broken promise to yourself costs you something tangible. Donate money to a cause you hate. Delete a favorite app for a week. The fox doesn't wait for hunger to hunt. The fox hunts on schedule. Your contract with mediocrity expires the moment you decide it does. But you have to decide. Not hope, not wish, decide. Count to 3 right now. Feel that resistance? That's the contract fighting back. And speaking of fighting back, there's an ancient concept most people completely misunderstand. Principle 3. Machiavelli's real secret, strategic excellence. Modern self-help sold you a lie. They told you discipline is about willpower, about grinding, about hustle culture and cold showers and screaming at yourself in the mirror. That's performance art, not power. Machiavelli had a different word, virtù. Not virtue in the moral sense, virtù as strategic excellence, as adaptation, as doing whatever the moment requires without emotional interference. Listen carefully. Discipline isn't about forcing yourself to suffer. Discipline is about removing the gap between stimulus and optimal response. The lion doesn't motivate itself to hunt. The lion's nervous system is wired for immediate action, no negotiation, no internal debate. You need to build the same automaticity. Here's the protocol. Step 1. Identify your 3 non-negotiable daily actions. Not 10, 3. These are your virtù anchors. Step 2. Strip all decision-making from them. Same time, same sequence, same environment, no variation. Step 3. Rehearse the trigger. When alarm sounds, feet hit floor. No thought, pure automaticity. Step 4. Protect the sequence like territorial law. Miss once, you're training failure. Complete it, you're training inevitability. Machiavelli wrote, "Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great." He meant this: when action becomes identity, effort disappears. The predator doesn't debate, the predator executes. Your 3 actions, what are they? If you can't name them right now, you're still negotiating. And negotiation is exactly what the next principle destroys. Principle 4. Kill the parasite of choice. Every decision you make drains you, even small ones, especially small ones. What to wear, what to eat, when to start, which task first. Each micro-decision is a small hemorrhage of mental energy. By noon, you're operating on fumes, and discipline requires fuel. This is called decision fatigue, a documented psychological phenomenon where your willpower depletes with each choice. The hyena doesn't choose which direction to run. The hyena follows scent. Pure stimulus response. Here's how you build the same efficiency. Tactic 1. Eliminate wardrobe decisions. 5 identical outfits. Done. Tactic 2. Standardize meal templates. Breakfast is always X. Lunch is always Y. Remove choice architecture entirely. Tactic 3. Use implementation intentions. Not, I'll work out today, but at 6 a.m. I will put on shoes and walk to the door. Tactic 4. Batch all decisions into one weekly session. Sunday night, plan every commitment. The week becomes execution, not deliberation. Machiavelli understood. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. He meant compression of decision-making into ritual creates psychological inevitability. Your brain has limited executive function. Spend it on execution, not selection. The wolf doesn't decide to be a wolf. The wolf operates on instinct refined into precision. How many decisions are you making tomorrow? Count them. Now cut that number in half. But even perfect systems need boundaries, and that's where the cage comes in. Principle 5. Build cages that only open one way. Ulysses tied himself to the mast. He knew the siren's song would destroy him, so he didn't trust his future self. He made betrayal physically impossible. That's the essence of pre-commitment, engineering your environment so discipline becomes the path of least resistance. Most people try to rely on willpower in the moment of temptation. That's strategic insanity. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions." Your future self is the deceiver. Your present self must build the cage. Here's the architecture. Device 1. Financial stakes. Use apps like BeMinder or Stick. Fail your commitment? Lose real money to a cause you despise. Device 2. Social accountability. Post your commitment publicly. Daily check-ins. Now shame is your enforcer. Device 3. Environmental design. Want to write every morning? Sleep with laptop on pillow. Want to stop scrolling? Delete apps. Install blockers. Make bad behavior require active effort. Device 4. Removal of exit routes. No backup plan. No, I'll start Monday. Burn the ships. Single path forward. The fox doesn't trust its hunger. The fox stores food when prey is abundant. You're not building discipline, you're building a system where discipline is automatic. Ask yourself, what cage are you refusing to build because you're afraid of confinement? That fear? That's your shadow speaking, and we need to integrate it. Principle 6. Your excuses are surveillance data. Carl Jung taught that what you deny in yourself grows in the darkness. Your excuses aren't enemies, they're intelligence reports. Every time you avoid the gym, your shadow is telling you something. Maybe you're afraid of being seen. Maybe you're protecting an identity of weakness because change feels like ego death. Most people suppress this, push it down, pretend it's not there. That's how you create internal saboteurs. Machiavelli understood, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Your weaknesses are enemies, but they're your enemies. They know your patterns, so interrogate them. Protocol 1. When you feel resistance, stop. Don't push through. Don't ignore. Sit with it. Protocol 2. Ask, what is this protecting me from? Not, why am I weak, but what function does this serve? Protocol 3. Write the answer. Your brain can't lie on paper the way it lies in thought. Protocol 4. Negotiate consciously. I hear you. You're afraid I'll fail and prove I'm worthless. Here's the deal. We try for 10 minutes. If it's unbearable, we stop. The predator studies prey patterns. You must study your own psychological terrain. Integration doesn't mean eliminating weakness. It means weaponizing self-awareness. When you know your breaking points, you can fortify them. When you know your triggers, you can disarm them. The wolf doesn't fear its own hunger. The wolf knows when hunger makes it sloppy. What is your resistance protecting you from? Answer it, out loud, right now. And once you've mapped your shadow, there's one final protocol that makes discipline inevitable. Principle 7. Weaponize your nightmare. Tim Ferriss calls it fear setting. Stoics called it premeditatio malorum. I call it strategic horror. Here's the truth you're avoiding. Inaction has consequences, brutal ones. You're so focused on the discomfort of discipline that you're ignoring the agony of regret. Machiavelli wrote, "Men shrink less from offending one who inspires love than one who inspires fear." You need to fear your undisciplined future more than you fear temporary discomfort. Here's the surgical protocol. Step 1. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Write continuously. What does your life look like in 5 years if nothing changes? Be specific, be visceral. Don't write, I'll be unhealthy. Write, I'll be 50 pounds heavier, avoiding mirrors, lying to my doctor, cancelling plans because I'm ashamed of how I look. Step 2. Read it out loud. Feel the nausea. That's data. Step 3. Now write the opposite. 5 years of discipline. Same specificity. I'll wake up at 5 a.m. without an alarm. My body moves efficiently. People ask me what changed. I know the answer. I stopped negotiating. Step 4. Put both documents somewhere you'll see them daily. Bathroom mirror, phone wallpaper, dashboard. Step 5. Every time you face a discipline decision, ask, which document am I writing right now? The prey runs from immediate danger. The predator calculates long-term survival. Your excuses are borrowing from your future, and the interest rate is savage. Count to 3. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. Is that person proud or bitter? You already know the answer. Let's lock this in. You came here thinking you needed motivation, more energy, better circumstances. You don't. You need systems that make weakness impossible. We covered 7 principles. 1. Weaponize cognitive dissonance. Force your brain to resolve the gap between self-image and action. 2. Cancel your covert contract with mediocrity. Reality doesn't meet you halfway. 3. Build virtue. Strategic excellence that removes the gap between stimulus and response. 4. Kill decision fatigue. Eliminate choice. Automate action. 5. Deploy pre-commitment devices. Build cages that only open one way. 6. Integrate your shadow. Your excuses are intelligence. Use them. 7. Fear-setting protocol. Make your undisciplined future more terrifying than temporary discomfort. Here's what happens if you do nothing. Tomorrow looks like today. Next month looks like this month. 5 years from now, you're explaining to yourself why you never started. The gap between who you are and who you could be, it widens. And one morning you'll wake up and realize you spent your entire life negotiating with yourself. That's not tragedy, that's strategic failure. But here's the other path. You implement one principle today, just one. You expose your covert contract. You write down your 3 virtue anchors. You build your first pre-commitment device. And tomorrow, you're slightly different. Not transformed, just different. Compound that difference over 60 days, 6 months, 6 years. The wolf doesn't become a wolf overnight. The wolf sharpens one skill at a time until the entire system operates as a unified predator. Machiavelli's final wisdom. Entrepreneurs are simply those who understand that there is little difference between obstacle and opportunity and are able to turn both to their advantage. Your lack of discipline isn't an obstacle. It's an opportunity to build the most important skill you'll ever possess, self-command. And self-command is the only true freedom. If this framework just shifted something in you, hit subscribe. This channel exists to decode power, psychology, and strategic self-mastery. More importantly, choose one principle. Implement it today. Not tomorrow, today. And then come back here and write this exact phrase in the comments. I no longer negotiate. Don't explain it. Don't qualify it. Just that sentence. Because when you declare it publicly, you're making it real. The cage is built. The system is live. The wolf is awake. Now execute.